Hello and welcome back to the reading vlog. It is Tuesday. Let's start this week's reading vlog. I finished a book already this week, which has its reasons, and I started two, and I'm a fan of none of them, which doesn't really come as a surprise to me, to be honest. But yeah, I thought we'd have a quick chat and just start the week off, so you know what you can kind of expect. And yeah. Let's start with this one, which is Portrait of a Thief, which I gave 2 stars. I finished it today. I read it yesterday and today. It is a quick read, mostly because there's so little happening and the book is so boring and it has so much filler that is so unnecessary that it was a really, really quick read. I gave it 2 stars mainly because I think the heart of the story is really, really good. Just how it's done wasn't really impressive. The book is about four or five, a group of American Chinese students, and I think all of them or most of them were born in America, and they aren't necessarily happy with where they are in life, and they get kind of an offer to steal some artifacts from American museums and bring them back to China, like artifacts that were originally stolen from China and brought to America and are now displayed in museums. And for different but similar reasons, all of them are like, yes, let's do this. They have no knowledge about robbing anything, and yeah, so the story is about them doing that and what happens because of that. And so it's a heist novel, but there isn't really any heist in here, and it's so boring. There's so little happening. I have to say also, this was in a fantasy book box. There's no fantasy in this book. This is completely contemporary, which I'm not interested in anyway, most of the time, to be honest. And yeah, I just found it to be really boring. I think the idea is good, the topic is good, like talking about stuff that is in museums nowadays that was stolen and didn't, like, it wasn't agreed to be taken to America or Europe or all of those places, you know, and what we can do to make sure that the artifacts get back to their original country and their places where they belong to, you know, stuff like that. And like then just lending pieces out, and yeah, just all of that, you know. It's a really, really important topic. This book falls so flat. The characters are so, they're so boring. Like pretty much like every chapter ends with like a really, like, a sentence, and they get talked about over and over and over again. Like it's so weird how those chapters end again and again. I don't know. I didn't like the writing style. I didn't like the characters. I think the book is just boring. There isn't really much happening, and what is happening is really, like, there isn't really much of consequences of anything. I don't know. I maybe I'm just not the recipient for the book. Like, I like the concept of the story. Like, I'm totally on board with like giving back artifacts to the countries where they originally are from, and then just lending them to show them in different countries. You know, I don't think it's okay for America or European countries, you know, where the problem is the biggest, to have these artifacts that don't belong to us. And you know, I'm totally on board with that. But this book makes such a weird thing out of it. For one, I don't think that stealing them back is the sensible thing to do. And you know, this book ends with like a sensible solution, but it kind of negates everything that happens in the book a little bit. And yeah, it's just so weird. I don't know. I didn't enjoy it. 2 stars. It was boring, unenjoyable. I didn't love it. And then the two I'm currently reading is, the first one is Fathom Folk by Elisa Chan, which this one is just so political, and I'm not the biggest fan of political books. So yeah, this is pretty much a world where we have underwater mythical creatures who are living with humans together, and you know, the creatures like the Fathom Folk, I think, is actually the name of them. They live under the water, but some of them can also get on top, and the humans live on top, and it's pretty much just a political book about the humans polluting the sea and um, young adults, children, wanting to rebel because they don't understand really the situation. And our main character is kind of in between because she's half siren and she's part of the city guard to, you know, keep the peace between the two. And this is pretty much just her being jostled in different directions because of politics, which I don't enjoy. I didn't know this was so politic heavy, but I'm like, what am I? I'm 50 pages in and there was so much politics already. Yeah, I sadly don't enjoy that, which means I'm not enjoying the book. I will try to read more of it, but this might be a possible DNF just because I hate books that only have politics. Like, there's no action up until now, it's just politics. And then we have this one, which I'm a little bit on the fence about as well, which is Spells for Forgetting by Adrian Young. And this is about an island that is surrounded by a forest, and on that island there's still magic and stuff. And there was one guy who was the boyfriend, fiance of our main character, and he was accused of killing her best friend, and so he was banished from the island. And he comes back, and so wounds get ripped open, and our main character and the guy try to, I don't know, kind of clear his name, something like that, in that direction. But yeah, the book already starts a little bit off, kind of. Like, our main character now lives with another guy, as far as I can see, and they don't really see eye to eye on everything, so it's a little bit maybe abusive. Like, we don't know that really yet in the beginning, but it might just be. And so yeah, obviously there's gonna be like jealousy and love triangles and stuff like that, because obviously her ex-boyfriend is coming back. Like, she doesn't know that, but I'm pretty sure they will, you know, meet each other again, and I hate stuff like that, so I'm not looking forward to that, to be honest. I like the magical aspect. It's kind of like, it's a book full of like, oh, this is an omen, and, you know, being able to read the signs and something happening, stuff like that. I really like that. But yeah, already the setup for jealousy and feelings and stuff like that isn't what I love to read, to be honest. So yeah, I feel like this might be romance heavy, which I don't love. But yeah, those two are pretty much what I want to get through this week, either through DNFing it or through reading it. That is the goal for this week, so let's hope I can achieve that actually. And yeah, also I still need to finish editing Thursday's video, which is really a lot of editing because of the type of video. If you haven't seen it yet, I will put it up here or here, whichever corner it is, because I'm actually really happy with how that video turned out so far. Like, I do need to do the finishing touches and stuff. And yeah, I did my first book binding, and I'm actually really happy with the result. It isn't perfect, but it looks pretty good, so yeah, look into that video. And yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about for the start of this video. I'm already talking way too long, so yeah, I will see you with the reading update. Okay, so because none of the two books I started yesterday spoke to me in any way today, I started a new book. This is part 2 of the Maze Runner series, and it's called The Scotch Trials. And it's pretty much, you know, in the first one we have the boys escaping the maze, and in the second one they find out, oh, that's not the end. You now have to pretty much walk 100 kilometers or miles to safety while being injected with a virus that could kill you, and they have to survive pretty much. And I'm 100 pages in now. Willst du raus, Nero? Had to let the dog out. I'm 100 pages in, so I'm nearly 1/3 of the way through. And yeah, it's not really that much different to the first part, to be honest. The boys are a little less teenagerish, which is actually kind of nice. But I mean, what gives, you know, surviving the first book. And yeah, they get a little bit more information why they do, why they have to do what they do. And yeah, it's pretty much already started with really like deadly traps and stuff. And yeah, that is pretty much what I will continue reading, and then maybe I will try to read one of the other two as well. But to be honest, they really don't speak to me at all. So yeah, we'll have to see in what mood I am. But yeah, I mean, I read 100 pages today, which is nice. That's kind of good. I'm still in the search for more end page paper for my new bookbinding, but I haven't found that yet. So I will continue with the search for now. So it is now Thursday evening, and I finished the second Maze Runner book, The Scotch Trials. I don't know. I gave it 2 stars. I think that's less than I gave the first one, but I am not impressed with the series, I have to be honest. Most of the characters are rather a little bit on the flatter side. I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, he seems to have like a count of how many like plot twists he can build into the book and then explain away with like, oh, it's pattern tests and stuff. It's so weird. Our main character seems not that intelligent, even though he's supposed to be really intelligent. And in the beginning they like behave really like older as they are, and then they revert back to just being like weird like kids. It's, I don't know, I don't get it, you know. It's not really kind of it's not really an impressive book, to be honest, but then again it's a teeny book from 2010. But I don't know. Yeah, 2011 is when this was published. Another thing that I kind of found to be really funny, I read some reviews on Goodreads when I, put it on finished on Goodreads, and one person actually went through the book and counted up at the end of each like chapter how many times our main character is either asleep or knocked out, and it's 29 times. This book has like 330 pages. So yeah, roughly like every like 10, 12 pages he gets knocked out. The book was so much filler, like so much filler in this book. There isn't really much happening at all other than the plot twists that aren't really plot twists and are really annoying throughout the whole book. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm making my way through the series, which is what I wanted to achieve, you know, so in that point it's fair. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend this series at all, if I'm honest. So yeah, but I finished it. That is the important part. So yeah, tomorrow I will hopefully continue with one of the 2 books I started at the beginning of the week. I'm still not much more interested in them, but I do want to give them a good try before I consider DNFing them. So we'll see what I will do tomorrow. And yeah, then thankfully it's the weekend again, which I'm really needing. I'm so tired this week. Um, I don't know, but I do manage to get my reading in this week, which is nice, So yeah, I will go to sleep now. It's really irritating that it's so light out when I go to sleep. But yeah, we have like 8 o'clock or something like that. So yeah, I will get ready for bed and then I will be asleep by like 9, half past 10. And yeah, it's so light outside. I'm really not a summer person, I have to say. But yeah, that is kind of what I did this evening. Not really much interesting, these it's just, it was so boring. It can put you to sleep pretty much, just as the main character, so maybe that is a plus point. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow. We'll see which book will be the one I will continue with and how far I will come with it. Okay, let's talk. I'm having a problem. I think it's what I was afraid of when I started, well, when I made my TBR for this month. I just cannot read so many of the BookBox books one after another because they all have aspects that I'm not the biggest fan of. A lot of them like romance or like too much politics. And so, yeah, I didn't want to read one of the two I already started, so I started a third one, but I also couldn't get into that one today. So I think I have to kind of give up on my TBR. I don't think it will work. I do think I need to put like different books in between those to get through the BookBox boxes because so many of them are not bad books. I just think it's just too much of the same. Like they feel so samey again and again and again, which makes sense because all of the books, like, it is a book box with like a theme. So yeah, it does feel really samey, and I don't think it's a negative thing because obviously they come a month apart, but like reading them one after another is just too much for me. I don't know, I'm not interested enough in the books for that. So yeah, I'm scrapping what I'm currently reading, which isn't what I wanted to do, but I think it's the only way forward at the moment. And I picked up a classic fantasy. And I think that is what I need right now. So I picked up this one, which I picked up in a random book box. It's called The Heart of Muriel by Maggie Fury. It looks like this. This is our main character. She's called, let me tell you, I just read her name. Something with Velden is her name. And then we have Cass, which is the Drake, which is her companion. And they work for the Shadow League, which is the name of the series. And yeah, they are at the moment pretty much playing bodyguards for the seer of the dragons, and they have to bring him to their headquarters where he can talk with the bosses pretty much of the Shadow League, and that is what is happening. And pretty much the world in this book was pretty much, they had like these like mist walls between kingdoms where like in one lived the humans and one lived the drakes and one, something like that. And they kept the peace pretty much because every race or like type of living being like kept kind of in their own kingdom, and they didn't really mingle with one another, which can be helpful if the inhabitants of one kingdom look like a drake, or are drakes. And yeah, they, for a reason nobody knows, like the walls faded one day and it started raining and not stopping. And now they try to find out what happened and how they can maybe fix it to kind of fix what happened, because obviously now people are starving because it's constantly raining and the sun is missing and stuff like that. And the dragons, for example, they need the sun because they live off of sun. energy pretty much, and so they are starting to die and stuff like that, you know. And it sounds like a really nice, really classic fantasy, and I think that is exactly what I need right now. I was tempted to do a reread of The Lord of the Rings just to get my bearings again, but I think this is a much better idea to like read something I haven't read yet, but that starts like a really classic fantasy. I just started. I'm like 20 pages in, so I haven't read much yet, but it already reads so much like the books that I love so much, like the real classic fantasy. I have to say it. I'm much more of a classic fantasy reader. Um as much as I think it's kind of good that more modern fantasy has like a lot of like political undertones and like a lot of like more modern topics like to bring into the books, for me it's a lot of the times so overwhelming, and I personally read to escape reality, and if I have so much reality in my fantasy, it tends to make it harder for me to get through the fantasy. Even if I like the book, it just makes it so much harder to read, and I feel like, you know, the classic fantasy has like, it's just so mostly so medieval orientated that you don't have like modern politics in there, and that works for me, you know, to like make me escape reality, and that is what I want, you know. So yeah, hopefully this one will get me out of this reading slump. I mean, also I had a bad week, like mentally, just had a, the week wasn't working, and I'm pretty sure that I I started to drink more water. I started to drink like pretty much iced tea that it comes in like tea bags. So without sugar and stuff, it's just tea, but I didn't realize, because I don't know, for some reason I didn't look at it. I didn't realize that it was black tea and that has caffeine, and I have been drinking that for like 2 or 3 weeks now till like 7 in the evening, and I wondered why I'm sleeping so badly. Yeah, because I'm pumping myself full of caffeine the whole day, every day. And yeah, that means I had a really, really bad mental health week, I would say, because I'm not sleeping good at all. I'm running on on so little sleep, and that has gotten me really down this week. And then, you know, the bad book choices hasn't made it better, you know. So yeah, I will continue with this one. I might also look into getting another audiobook, because I would really like to listen to another audiobook, but I have a hard time picking one. So yeah, we'll see how that will go, to be honest. Yeah, and then also today my favorite pair of pens um broke. So now that was also really annoying, and I can't get the exact same pair again. Which also makes me sad, because I have a hard time with like pens shopping, and yeah, that sucked today. So yeah, that is kind of how it's going, and why I have filmed so little this week, because yeah, I wasn't really all that much there, to be honest. So yeah, I will mm, continue a little bit more with this one, and then I will just chill the rest of the evening. If I find an audiobook, I will start with that. If not, I will watch YouTube videos and just mentally check out for the day, you know. So that is kind of the plan for today. It is what it is, you know. Sometimes you just have to accept it. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow with a reading update. Hopefully I can make my way through this. I will try to read a little bit slower, because I feel like the last weeks I've tried to really rush through books, because otherwise I would lose interest so quickly. So yeah, I want to kind of take my time with this, you know, and see if that makes everything a little bit better. Okay, so I had a really productive morning today, which is Saturday, and yeah, I thought I'd give you a quick update and then end the vlog here, so I can actually just chill the rest of the day and don't have to remember to film an outro and stuff like that. I continued with The Heart of Muriel, and yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm 58 pages in, so I'm not like massively in, as you can see, but you know, I'm not rushing through this, and I'm really enjoying it. We have now have a few different perspectives. Like we have the Shadow League guys who are like trying to fix things. Then we have one high priest, like yeah, he's more or less like a high priest from one of the lands who kind of is in trouble because he can't speak to their god anymore, and so he can't help his country, and that is a problem. And then we have we have a woman who was a warrior, and she lives like in the same country the high priest lives in. I think it's the human country. And yeah, we have her perspective because she finds our Shadow League woman after an accident. And so we will go more into that. And we have now learned a lot more about the different races. So we have one like insect like race, then we have centaurs, we have dragons, we have drakes. And then we have like some tunnel dwellers who, from their description, I would say are a little bit centipede like. So, yeah, we have really interesting races here actually. And, we have a lot of the topics of like, oh, we have problems once the races like meet one another because obviously, if a human goes out of his house and there is like a centipede like being standing in front of the door, that might not be the easiest thing to explain. And yeah, but we also have like unrest in like the Shadow League because some people think they should help the races more to um, be more successful, but most of them have like, ulterior motives to help their own race and not the other ones. So that is what we are going into pretty much, and I'm really interested in it. Like, it's really, really nice. I'm really enjoying it. I'm taking my time. I'm loving it. It's exactly what I needed. I think that is the point where I'm coming to. And I'm really, really happy because I do have part two of this one as well. And I do have quite a few other books by McFury. So if I like this series, I might also like the other ones, which I do own a few of. So yeah, I might have a lot more fantasy to choose from than I remembered because I just forget that these there because they are like pretty much in the lowest shelf on that one. So I might need to rearrange my books because I'm forgetting that I own these books. But yeah, that is actually really, really nice. So my reading enjoyment is going up at the end of the week, which is nice. I then also filmed a Thursday's video already on a Saturday. Normally I film on a Monday, but my partner's at university today. So I had the time and the space to not have to worry about him like screaming in the background because he's playing video games. So yeah, I did that, which was also really nice. So I can edit that tomorrow, and then I don't have to do anything for that the next week, which is good. And yeah, it's pretty like productive today. So I will now make myself some lunch, and yeah, I also am quite a bit of a way through my granny square blanket. Like, I am nearly finished with the yarn that I own. I will put a picture here of how big my stack is of my granny squares. So I will also continue with that one today, because I do want to, you know, come to an end with that project. And I already have a new one for some like wall tapestries, which I bought some yarn for, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, that I will also start in like next week, something once that stuff comes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this rather chaotic, unmotivated reading vlog this week. And yeah, maybe you can leave your opinions on like book boxes and the books that come in them down below. I'm like, I don't know. I have some really mixed opinions. Even though I look at them positively, once I tried reading the books, it's a little bit more of a, I don't know. It's complicated. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.